So today we're going to be comparing this antenna, which is a 102-inch steel whip with 2 ground plane radials and a pole that is 102 inches long. We're going to be comparing that to Tram 1498. It's an 18-foot tall half-wave antenna with a homemade ground plane kit on it. I have 4 102-inch wires, equally spaced and going down at a 45-degree angle. We're going to compare that antenna to the little 102-inch whip over on the end of my house. They're both about the same height off the ground. They're both roughly 23, 24 feet off the ground. They're shaky. I'm going to go for a ride in my car. I have a couple of points marked out. I got a 7-mile, a 5-mile, and a 7-mile point picked out for the testing. So let's get to it and let's see what it does, what each antenna will do for receive and transmit. I'm going to use the same radio on both antennas, and in my car I'm using an old realistic 451, and for the base antennas I'll be using a realistic 448. And I'm going to move that 448 first. We're going to do in the garage, and then I'm going to move it to the house and we'll do the test from in the house. Okay, this is our base station radio that we're going to be using. It's actually a mobile radio used as a base. I have it hooked up to the Tram 1498 first, so we're going to do the testing on that antenna, and then we'll move this radio to the house and hook it up to the 102-inch whip. So let's get started with the test, and we're going to start out with the Tram antenna. My wife's going to be on this radio, and I'll be out in the car. All right, let's see how the Tram does. Right now I am at the 5-mile mark. The 5-mile mark. This is exactly 5 miles from you.
Sounds fantastic, honey. Actually, that sounds really fantastic. Alright, right now I am at the 5-mile mark. The 5-mile mark. This is exactly 5 miles from you.
Sounds fantastic, honey. Actually, that sounds really fantastic.
Alright, can you give me a dead key? Just key the microphone, don't say anything. In your head, count to 5.
Alright, can you give me a dead key? Just key the microphone, don't say anything. In your head, count to 5.
Alright, I use the cell phone to just get a snapshot of the meter reading.
Good, I was hoping you understand that we're doing without talking.
Alright, I'm at the 7-mile mark, and this time I stopped the car and shut it off so we can get a true reading.
Alright, what do you need to do?
Alright, give me that 5-second dead key again.
Here goes. Alright, give me that 5-second dead key again.
Here goes.
How about it there, Mrs. Mower Junkie? You got a copy?
Mrs. Mower Junkie does have a copy, and you sound loud and clear out downtown.
Awesome. I'm in the parking lot of the post office. I'm going to be heading in there now, so you can go ahead and shut that camera off, and I'll be home in a little while.
How about it there, Mrs. Moa Junkie? You got a copy?
Mrs. Moa Junkie does have a copy, and you're sounding loud and clear now that you're out of downtown.
Awesome. I'm in the parking lot of the post office. I'm going to be heading in there now, so you can go ahead and shut that camera off, and I'll be home in a little while.
I'll be here waiting, hun.
Okay, that was on the Tram antenna. That's on the 18-foot omnidirectional antenna that's on the roof of my garage. We're still set up in the garage right now. The receive on this seems to work really, really well. From 5 miles out, 7 miles out, and even at the 12 miles. Even at 12 miles, the car radio that's all stock, no amplifier in there, was still giving this 2 to 3 dB from 12 miles away. But at 12 miles away, I could barely hear this radio, and the meter in my car wasn't moving at all. I don't know if that's just that area. I think we're going to find out next when I do the test with the 102. And we'll see how the 102 does at the 5 mile mark, the 7 mile mark, and again at the 12 mile. I'm going to stop the car in the exact same places that I did for this test, and we're going to see how the 102 compares to the 18-foot Tram. All right, let's get to it. Okay, I'm at the 5 mile stop. We're at 5 miles, and how's this thing hitting you? Is it sounding good still?
It most certainly is sounding good still. Looking fantastic. Sounding fantastic. I was just looking at the monitor and saw that it was raining.
Yeah, it sure is. It's sprinkling right now. It's not coming down hard yet.
You know, let's hope that holds off for a little bit. At least till you're home.
Alright, I don't think we need to do the dead key test because I got the camera right to the radio this time, and I can see that you're 7 swinging 9, I think.
Okay, I'm at the 5 mile stop. We're at 5 miles, and how's this thing hitting you? Is it sounding good still?
It most certainly is sounding good still. Looking fantastic. Sounding fantastic. I was just looking at the monitor and saw that it was raining.
Yeah, it sure is. It's sprinkling right now. It's not coming down hard yet.
Yeah, let's hope that holds off for a little bit, at least till you're home.
I don't think we need to do the dead key test because I got the camera right to the radio this time, and I can see that you're 7 swinging 9, I think.
We're back at the 7 mile point. Let's call for Mrs. Moa Junkie. How about it, Mrs. Moa Junkie? You got a copy on Mr. Moa Junkie.
I still have a copy on you, Mr. Moa Junkie. You're coming loud and clear from that spot. You must have been in a bad spot before.
Well, I'm at the 7 mile point now, and this has got to be a dead area because now I am barely getting any movement on this meter. On the other antenna, it gave about 1 dB. On this one, I'm barely getting any movement.
Yeah, it's not holding the meter up. It's not holding the meter up as much either. But I can still hear you loud and clear, so it's still pretty good.
Alright, I guess I'm going to move on, and we're going to go to that 12 mile point and see if we can hear each other at all. Alright, I'm going to be back in a few minutes.
Alright, Mrs. Moa Junkie, stand by. How about it, Mrs. Moa Junkie? You got a copy on Mr. Moa Junkie.
I do have a copy on you, Mr. Moa Junkie. You're coming in loud and clear from that spot. You must have been in a bad spot before.
I'm at the 7 mile point now, and this is going to be a dead area because now I am barely getting any movement on this meter. On the other antenna, it gave about 1 dB. On this one, I'm barely getting any movement.
Yeah, it's not moving the meter up. It's not moving the needle up as much either. But I can still hear you loud and clear, so it is still pretty good.
Alright, I guess I'm gonna move on and we're gonna go to that 12-mile point and see if we can hear each other at all. Alright, I'm gonna be back in a few minutes.
Alright, Mrs. Mower Junkie standing by.
How about it, babe, Mrs. Mower Junkie? You got a copy? I can barely hear you, but I can hear you. Alright, I'm sitting in the parking lot of the post office. I'm 12 miles away. 12 miles away, I can hear you, but I can hear you barely. You can still hear me all right, though? Alrighty, I guess that's the end of the test. I won't be able to go any further out, and I'm not going to hear you. Alright, I'm going to go get some gas now, so you can shut that camera off. I'll be on my way home very shortly.
I do, Mr. Mower Junkie. I can hear you.
I can barely hear you, but I can hear you.
You're quiet, but I can definitely hear you, and you're coming in clear. Woohoo, though, 12 miles is pretty good. Yes, I do. I hear you quite fine. I'll be waiting here for you. Be safe, Mr. Mower Junkie. I'll turn the camera off now. Alright. Mrs. Mower Junkie signing off.
Alright, let's go over the results. The received test with the base station antennas, the Tram at 5 miles away had a 7 dB signal from the car, and the 102-inch whip had a 6 dB signal. So there wasn't much difference there. Then at the 7-mile mark, we start to see a bigger difference. The Tram had a received signal of 5 dB, and the 102-inch whip only had 3 dB. At 12 miles away, the Tram base station antenna had a 3 dB signal from the 4-watt radio in the car, and the 102-inch whip, which kind of surprised me, it still had a 2 dB signal coming from just that 4-watt radio in the car. So you could hear the car from 12 miles away. On the transmit side, transmitting from the base stations to the car, the Tram had a 9 dB signal at 5 miles away, and the 102-inch whip only gave the car a 7 dB signal. At 7 miles away, again, there was something, I think, interfering. The Tram only gave the car a 1 dB signal, and the 102-inch whip barely made the needle move. At the 12-mile mark, the Tram was like the 102 at 7. The Tram, once in a while, the needle would move just a little bit, but barely any at all. And the 102-inch whip, well, I could hear my wife at 12 miles away, but barely. I had to turn the volume up some in order to be able to hear her, and obviously the needle didn't move at all. So in the end, we see that the Tram is a much better antenna. It's much better for local. I will be trying some DX tests whenever we get skip again. It's been weeks. It's been quiet. I've had a couple of random contacts, and that's been about it. But I have a lot of antenna testing that I want to do in the future when it comes to skip. So as soon as that cycle 25 kicks in, we're going to have a lot more testing. So for this test, I think we're done for now. Alright, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.